Hey everybody, Mark Yegge here, and I'm going to make a video about how to trade covered calls. And this is a question I get asked a lot, so I thought I'd put a simple video down and show you exactly how I do it. This is, by the way, one of the best strategies that I've ever seen to make money on Wall Street, make money for your investments, create passive income, create protection, and risk mitigation. This is dynamite stuff, so I can't wait for you to learn this. I'm going to jump right in right now. How to trade covered calls. All right, so let's talk about what covered calls are. First of all, what are they? They're popular option strategy that are used to create income. Now, if you go to Wall Street, you're going to ask questions about covered calls. They're going to tell you it's a very conservative strategy, and they would be right because you're buying the stock and you're selling a call. So it's not like anything's naked. There's a bad word on Wall Street that's called naked. We're not naked. This is a very easy, simple, easy to understand and implement system, and it's considered conservative. The bottom line is what we do is we buy a base position in a stock, and then we sell an option. That's called writing an option. And a call option. We're not going to talk about put option, which is the other kind. We're going to sell an option on that stock. We're going to give somebody the right to buy that stock. And what it does, though, it limits our upside potential. So we're not going to be hitting those home runs. We're going to just be going for the small wins. And those small wins add up over time. But the cool thing about that is it protects our downside. If you study any really great investors, what they do is they protect their downside first, and then they worry about making money. Because if you lose capital, it's really hard to make it back. We'd rather keep our capital and create income on top of it. So what is a call option? A call option is the right to buy an asset for a certain price. They call that the strike price. So you're going to hear me say strike price a lot. That's the price at which you can buy that asset on or before a certain date. Okay? After that certain date, you can't do it anymore. The option expires. It's critical to know. All right, what is a call option and what are the advantages of a call option? Well, first of all, it creates huge leverage. Instead of having to go out and spend a bunch of money to buy 1,000 shares of a stock, you can use an option to control more of the stock than you could with the same amount of money. And so it gives you huge amounts of leverage. It also says you can define your loss to whatever you've invested. You can't lose more than that if you buy a call option, okay? Now, there are some disadvantages, and these are very important to know if you want to make money. Here they are. 80% of all options expire worthless, and that's bad if you're the buyer. It amplifies adverse moves in stock. So if a stock goes down, the option goes down percentage-wise way more. If the option goes up, the opposite happens as well. But we're talking about the disadvantages here. A decline in value happens as these options move toward expiration. So, with less time available for you to exercise your option, there's less value to it. So obviously that is going to go down. I'll talk a little bit about time decay in a bit. And then the bottom line is you can lose your entire investment. One quick move of a stock and all your percentage vanishes. But you know how much you're going to lose. It's just that you can lose percentage-wise an awful lot. That's why 80% of all options expire worthless for the buyer. Now, why would you do a covered call? Well, first of all, it's going to lower your cost on the stock. And I'll explain that in a second as I give you some examples. And then second of all, it's going to create income. So you're selling a call, right? You're not going to be buying a call. You're going to be selling a call to somebody else that's going to have the option to buy your stock. You'll see what I talk about as I go through this, what I mean. And so when you sell that, that creates income, and that lowers your cost. It also lowers your risk. And the disadvantage, though, is that it's going to limit your upside. If that stock goes up an awful lot, well, you're not going to gain the advantages of that as well. So let me explain a little bit about what it is. Well, an option price is called the premium, and it's made up of two components. You see these two little boxes here? It's made up of this orange box at the bottom. That's the in the money amount or the intrinsic value, or it's made up of whatever time premium there is. So the longer the time premium, the more the value. The less the time premium, the less the value. And again, you'll see this as I give you some examples. And the intrinsic value just basically means how much that stock is in the money. If you have a stock at 100 and the stock is at 100, but you have a strike price that's 80, well, that's $20 in the money, right? So that's a $20 intrinsic value or protection amount or in the money amount, okay? It's called the intrinsic value. Any part over that, and there's always a little something, a little time premium in that, that's called the time premium. So anything over that is a time premium. All right, here's how time value works in options. And so the longer you have before expiration, the more valuable it is. Like if I have plenty of options and plenty of time to do something in my life, it's worth more. If I only have a couple of seconds left to do it, well, it's worth a lot less. So just think of it like that. So looking at this chart here on your screen, you're going to see the time premium on the left side of the screen with a lot of time is fine. But as it starts to move toward the right side of that time, as time moves forward, I should say, along the bottom axis, you go from 90 to 60 to 30 days until it expires. You see how it accelerates, that time decay accelerates. You can knock off a 0 on those numbers. Those are for 90, 60, and 30 days. Knock off a 0. It's the same chart for 9 days, 6 days, 3 days, and 0 days. So you can even do it for hours. That's the way the chart looks. Right near the end is where you get all of your time decay. That's good for us if we're the seller, because we get to sell high and buy low. I'll explain that in a second here. So we sell high. You've heard buy low and sell high, right? We sell high and we buy back lower. That's the way we do it. And this might blow your mind, but that's the way covered calls work. You're buying the stock, but you're giving somebody else the right. You're selling them the right to buy your stock at a later time at a certain price. And so we use that the premium decay, the time decay to our advantage, because since we're sellers, we get to put that money in our wallet right now. And we just wait for the time to erode that. And then we buy it back for 0 or 10 cents or something really cheap because there's no value left in it. That's the real secret sauce, by the way. Okay, so I have a video that I put together, kind of a little cartoon thing, and I think you're really going to like it because it explains this by using real estate, which we can all understand because we can put our hands on real estate. So watch this video and then we come back and I'll start giving you some examples.
So here's a guy named Jim, the guy with the red tie here, and he owns some land. Let's call it a city block, and it's worth about $100,000. Then there is Bob, this guy with the red hair and the beard, and he sees this lot is for sale, and he hears that a big hotel is going up right across the street from that land. So he thinks that land could be worth maybe $200,000, not just $100,000. But the problem is he doesn't have $100,000 to buy it. He's kind of broke, but he sees this big opportunity there. What he does is he approaches Jim and he says, "I'll pay you $10,000 if you'll sell me your property anytime in the next 6 months for your asking price of $100,000. Jim says, "Wait a minute, if I sell you my property for the same price I want to sell it for now, but the only difference is you're going to pay me $10,000 to take it off the market and give you a chance to buy it anytime in the next 6 months, and I get to keep the $10,000? And Bob says, "Yeah, that's what I'm offering." So they shake hands and they make a deal. So, who has the risk here? Well, looking at Bob, he could lose his full $10,000 if he's wrong. Now, if he's right, he hits a home run. Okay, now Jim, his deal is he gets to keep the $10,000 no matter what. It goes right into his wallet, and if Bob exercises his option, Jim also sells his lot for the asking price that he wanted. He gets his $100,000 too. So Jim, in this case, has a relatively low risk. Make sense? A week later, Bob finds out that it was just a rumor, and this hotel is not going up, and it's not going to make that property worth $200,000. And Jim still has a piece of property that's worth $100,000. Nothing's changed on his side. Let's analyze the positions. Jim still owns the lot, and he got a $10,000 bonus or a 10% return. He also reduced his cost, he reduced his risk. That's another way to look at it. Bob, on the other hand, got unlucky. He invested his $10,000 and he lost all of it, so he was really unlucky. In this case, Jim basically just collected rent from Bob on his property. So over time, I would ask you this: who would you rather be? Would you rather be Jim, that has the lot, or would you rather be Bob, that you know was swinging for the fences, but he lost it all? Well, that's an easy one. You want to be like Jim. You want to be the guy that doesn't take the huge risk. Now, can we be Jim in the stock market? Well, you better believe it. And if you've ever played Monopoly, it has a couple of places on the board. Boardwalk and Park Places are the most expensive properties on the board. But if you own any properties on the board, anytime somebody lands on them, they have to pay you rent every time they go around the board. So there's always a Bob out there, there's always a gambler out there that's willing to pay you rent. And if you're Jim, you could take money from all the Bobs over and over and over again, all year long. And that's what we want to do. We want to start collecting rent.
Now, let's talk about some examples. Let's use the same guy that we just had in that video, Jim, the guy with the red tie. And Jim likes ABC stock. And so he sees ABC stock out there for $100 a share. And what he says is he finds somebody that's going to buy it, that wants to take an option on it for $2 a share. And these are available all over the place, right? They're quoted just like stocks. So it's not like he has to go out and knock on doors and find this. He just finds the quote on his screen. I'll show you how that works in just a second. There's a strike price on that for 100, and it expires in, let's just call it 30 days. Okay? So he goes in there, he trades it at $100 a share, he gets the $2 back, he puts it in his wallet, and it expires in 30 days. He buys the stock and he sells the call. That's the first step. You got that? Okay, here comes the next step. Now, he receives that $2 call price, right? So that's money. That's why it's in green. It's money that goes into his wallet. So now, instead of taking $100 out of his wallet to buy the stock, he only has to spend $98, right? He bought the stock and he sold the call. He might have already owned the stock too. And so he's got $98 invested. Here's a couple of things that could happen. First of all, the stock could go over 100 before expiration. Remember, the other person has the right, but not the obligation, to buy it for $100, right? So it could go over $100 before expiration. Or maybe it doesn't go over $100 before or at expiration. Those are the two things that could happen. Got that? Okay. So let's say that the stock goes over $100 before expiration. The stock goes up. That means our buyer of the stock, the person that we sold it to, they were right. They took a little gamble of $2, but they were right. So the stock gets taken away from us, from our perspective, at 100. That was the agreement. We agreed to sell it at 100. That's strike price. So Jim, who bought the stock and sold the call, has $98 invested. He ends up selling it for 100. He makes $2 per share, or in this case, a 2% return in 30 days. Okay? Pretty good, right? Not a lot of people get 2% return in 30 days. So that's pretty good. Now, what happens if it goes under $100 before or at expiration? Well, at $99.99, it's under $100. He gets to keep that stock, just like he did in the real estate example, and he gets to do the same thing the next month, right? So he finds somebody else, it gives him $2 a share, and then he lowers his cost from 98 to 92. So he still makes the money, and he gets to keep the $2 per share that he got no matter what. He's just limited on his upside. Now, of course, this is a stock that he wants to own, and the stock could drop certainly below 98 bucks a share, but he wanted to own this particular stock anyway. So that's a really critical thing. You can't just do any stock. You have to buy the right stock. And here's the important thing. You got to buy the right stock in the right market at the right spot on the chart, and then you collect that premium. Collect that premium. So let's do some real life examples now. You ready for some real life examples? Okay. All right, let's jump in, and I'm going to show you the first stock we're going to do is called Penn. Penn is a gaming company, and I'm just showing you this big screen, and there's a lot of numbers. It's called an options chain. It shows you all the options that are available. These are all the calls, and these are all the puts. We're not going to really do anything over here on the puts. That's a whole different strategy. We're going to focus right here on the calls, and don't worry about all the numbers. I'm going to explain them to you. But the one I want you to notice right here is February 19th, 2021, which says that there's 30 days left on this option. It expires on February 19th, 2021. I also want you to notice the stock price is at 106.03. Okay? So those are the only two pieces of information I want you to get. I'm going to drill down and focus in here on the next part. Now, take a look at the next part, and you're going to see that drill down. Remember, the stock is trading at 106.03. That's why I wrote it right here, 106.03. And you'll see if we do an at-the-money call, an at-the-money call means it's at the money. It's 106.03. Here's the 106 strike price. You can see the 106 there. If you go to the left, three numbers, that is the the bid price. That's the price we're going to be worried about. That's how much we're going to be selling the option for. We're going to assume we're going to get $9.10 for the option. So we're doing the 106 strike price, call price at $9.10. So we buy the stock for 106.03. We sell it. In other words, we take $9.10 and put it in our wallet. So we sell it for $9.10. And then we have a cost basis of $96.93. So that stock can fall all the way to $96.93 before we start to lose money. Look at the return on investment for 30 days if you do this covered call. 106.03 minus 9.10 gives you 96.93. And if you do that, you're going to make 9.4%. Pretty cool, right? Is this stuff great or what? So that's, do you get the idea? Now, I'm going to do a more expensive stock. You could do stocks all over the place, but I know people know about this company. It's a company called Tesla. So I want you to look. Again, this is a 30-day option, February 19th. It's a 30-day option. You see it says 30 days there. And I want you to notice that the price of the stock is $851.50. $851.50. Got that? Okay, now I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to show you we've got the 850s, which is $1.50 in the money, right? So it's right at the money, really. It's $1.50 in the money, so it's very close. $850 on the strike, $851.50 is what the stock is trading at, so it's got $1.50 of in the money amount. The rest of it is time premium, right? And so you're going to get $71.90. $71.90 when you sell this. I mean, isn't that incredible? You're going to get $71, which means this stock could drop $71 all the way down to $779.60, and you still won't lose a dime. You still won't lose a dime. And so your basis in the stock is $779.60. If the stock stays anywhere above $850, you end up making 9.2%. That's the maximum amount you're going to make on this transaction. So 9.2% for 30 days. Isn't this cool? So hopefully now you've understood a couple of the options and how they work. So let me show you how easy it is to do an order on a covered call. It's actually really simple. First of all, you know it's two steps. You buy the stock and you sell the call. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to buy the stock. And so we're going to go here, over here, we've already actually got an order window built. Buy 1,000 shares at the market in the right account. And we see that the stock is trading in this area. So go ahead and submit. This is giving us all of the parameters of the order. It's $108,000 to buy this stock.
Order partially filled. Order partially filled.
And it's filling us now.
Order filled.
And now we've got a complete fill at 108.33. So you can see that down here. We're filled at 108.33. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull up that options chain. And you're going to see that we're going to go out. Let's go out here to 28 days. And we're going to go ahead. The stock is right now trading at about 106. Let's do the 105s here. And you'll see that 105s are trading for $9.25. So you click on the bid. And that builds the order you're going to sell. Remember, we have 1,000 shares, so that's 10 contracts. One contract is 100 shares. So 1,000 shares is 10 contracts. Let's just go at the market. We usually get a pretty good fill here from Interactive Brokers. And we've got to select the right account. Submit. Override and transmit. And now we just wait a second for our fill.
Order filled.
And there's the fill. It's 10:55. So listen, I hope you found that easy to understand and pretty cool and pretty fun. I think the returns are phenomenal on covered calls. It's one of the best ways I've ever seen in the market in 44 years to be able to invest. So I hope you see why I'm excited about it. I hope you feel the enthusiasm I have, because I think it's really, really great. And it pays you to learn it. Now, there's another way to do covered calls. I call this the modified covered call strategy. It's method 2 in the courses that we teach. But it amplifies your returns using covered calls by 4 times, 3 to 4 times. And it only increases risk by 1x. So, but the key to it is that in any of these covered call strategies, you've got to have a system. You can't just go out and click a mouse and spend $100,000, $200,000 or whatever. You've got to have a full system. And the system should tell you when to be in and when to be out of the market, what to do when things go against you, how to get alerts that pop up and tell you that you need to take some action. And then you have to have a full set of rules for the different market cycles, because not every market is created equal, and stocks don't always go up. Sometimes they go down, sometimes they go up a little, sometimes they stay the same. There's all different kinds of variables that when you put it together. So you've got to have a full system if you want to do it right. Don't just go out there and start doing covered calls, although you can, and you'll probably do fine, but make sure you have a system around it. I can help you if you want. We have a system, but if you're going to do it, get some help. Don't just go out there and do it by yourself. Get some help. It may not be from me. It could be from somebody else. That's fine. But get some help. Make sure there's a system around it, and make sure that you have best chances for success. We have a mentorship programs that can help you kind of hold your hand as you do the first few trades. And then we have mentorship and mastermind groups that can kind of, be with you every week as you do your trades and help you in those good markets, in those bad markets, so that you know which way to react without being on your own ship out in the middle of the ocean.
How can we help you? 5 ways. First, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell below to make sure you get our new video the minute it comes out. Second, get a copy of my book, Hacking Money, and you'll learn a system for creating wealth through passive income so that you can build the lifestyle of your dreams. Click where it says book below. Third, if you want to hit the ground running, or if you want to learn how to invest from someone with over 44 years of investing success, click the products and programs link below. Fourth, if you want to accelerate your path to increase your wealth, consider joining one of my ecosystems. I have mentorships and mastermind programs for learning that are practically guaranteed to make you a successful investor. Or if you want to travel the world and learn from me and other multimillionaires on the path to greatness, you should consider joining my elite mastermind group. Fifth, if you want some help right now because you have a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to create massive passive income, or you want to accelerate your results in your investments, or maybe you just want personalized mentorship to build the lifestyle of your dreams, we can help. Maybe you're a multimillionaire who just wants someone else to handle some of your investing decisions and you want to invest in one of my funds. Whatever it is for you, click on the link below where it says Become a Client. All those links are below. You create your world, nobody else. And remember, never give up your power in your health, your wealth, or your time.